My bad, y'all. Sorry I was late. I thought I had it set at 2. I had a thing set at 12. Um, I'm not going to hold you guys long. Um, I got a couple clips here from River TV. Excuse me. Um, I see she has a Jeannie Mai clip, MK Williams, Denzel, and Cheyenne Bryant. I want to start with this Denzel clip real quick. Let's go.
I have a great wife. A lot of women who started clapping when he said that you had to really do inventory. He's talking
What
about
did have me
Something
Bishop
that really bothers
Jakes?
me and like
I didn't know it was Denzel talking to TD Jakes. Okay, let's continue.
honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that yeah, like there are all these women like throwing themselves, but me, like the past 10 years, like I don't have any of that. Like I have zero. This sounds weird, but like male attention.
First off, Aisha, when are you gonna realize that you're nothing more than a supporting cast member? So supporting cast members are only need to be seen every once in a while. Stay in your place and know your role.
Aren't the women bold? Oh, very. Very. Just rude. But you know what you're gonna say? They see something good and
I hooked my wife's pedigree. My wife is consistent. It might be our generation.
River TV.
Shout
What's
out
up,
to
guys?
River
It's your
TV.
River, and I'm back again with another video. So, in lieu of all the divorce drama, the toxicity, the baby mama stuff, I wanted to shed light on a conversation that Denzel Washington recently had on a podcast with Bishop T.D. Jakes. And the reason why I wanted to get into it is because every time that Denzel has any kind of positive conversation and talks about his wife, you always see women in the comment section, like, oh
Hey
yeah, they
team.
don't make men like this
Hey
anymore.
y'all.
Only to find out that
Sorry I was
Denzel is
late.
absolutely checking and putting a lot of these modern women in their place, and they don't even realize it. Okay? They have no idea. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the entire conversation. I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, and my opinion on everything in regards to Denzel Washington and his wife.
You live and work in an industry where the falling apart of it
Hey
all
team.
is the headlines of the week, and people slip and swap in relationships all the time. It is a very difficult thing to be who you are and still be a father and still be a husband. Tell us how. I have a great wife.
So we always hear him say this. Like over the years on a consistent basis, he always talks about how amazing his wife is. And in this conversation,
As
he
he
went
should.
into, like all of her accolades and like, the backstory of who she is as a person.
Listen, my wife, she was a child prodigy. She was the Van Cliburn competitor, one of the world's best young pianists at 9 years old. She was the first black woman that was supposed to be Miss North Carolina at a time when they couldn't let a black person be.
The lore is so deep that he even talked about his admiration for her father.
Her father was an educator. They had one of the top, this was back in segregation, before integration, they had one of the top schools in North Carolina, the top debating team. One of the best schools in North Carolina was an all-black school from Newton, North Carolina. Build storage your way. U.S. General, only at Harbor Freight.
Now, before I get into, where I'm going with this entire conversation, let me just give you the backstory. So, Pauletta Washington, okay, the very gracious and beautiful Pauletta Washington and Denzel met in 1977, okay? They dated for a span of 6 years, and then they got married in 1983. Okay, as of right now, 2025, the two of them have been married for a total of 41 years. That's 4 decades. Okay, just that alone sets Pauletta apart from a lot of you women out there.
Show hell do.
A lot of women in the first 1 year, 2 year, 3 years talking about, oh, well, he needs to hurry up because if he don't jump on the train, somebody else will. And I'm not going to be sitting here dating this man and not a lot.
Sorry, I gotta stop River. I'm gonna say this loud and I'm gonna say this clear. Women need to understand women do not dictate marriage, men do. If a man wants to marry you, he'll marry you. If a man does not want to marry you, you as a woman cannot force the man to marry you. It's just that cut and dry. The only thing women control is sexual reproduction. Men control anything related to marriage is controlled by men. Let's continue.
I'm not gonna be sitting here dating this man and not. A lot of women can't even go through the steps of maturing a relationship before they decide to take that serious step into marriage. They're not even doing it. This is a woman who was thinking about the lifetime relationship, the marriage, and not the wedding. So already, by far, she.
And here's another thing that I see women having an issue with. It seems that in today's time, women know how to get married, but unfortunately, they don't know what it is to stay married. Getting married is the easy part. The question they need to ask themselves, how do they stay married? And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of women ask themselves that question.
She is completely, like I said, contrary to a lot of women out there. Now,
She
let's
is.
add in the other, huge difference with being married to a powerhouse, somebody who is out there in the public, somebody who has so like a strong female fan base, and even how she navigated those situations with grace.
Aren't the women bold?
Oh, very. Very.
Just rude.
But you know what you're gonna say? They see something good and
We're in an era now where we have women coming to the forefront complaining about the fact that their man is in the limelight, their husband's in the limelight, and they're upset that they're not getting male attention.
Something that really bothers me and like honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that like there are all these women like throwing
And me personally, Steph Curry could did way better than Aisha. I'm just saying.
themselves, but me, like the past 10 years, like I don't have any of that. Like I have zero, this sounds weird, but like male attention. Because I don't want it, but it'd be nice to know that like someone's looking.
Then you have this woman who's sitting there so sure of herself, so gracious, that has no problems or qualms, doesn't feel the need to prove anything outside, don't need to, step to nobody, because she knows who she is and she knows what she has.
but that doesn't bother
Bingo.
you, does it? No. Because you know why? He's coming home.
A woman who, speaks very boldly on the fact that on their first date, she had no problem contributing financially to the date by making sure that after he covered the spectrum of the day, that she, paid.
Notice River inadvertently just referenced 50-50 without her saying it. A lot of y'all women see 50-50 as struggle of, instead of 50-50 has being the helpmate or quote unquote cooperating. And here's the thing. Y'all see cooperation has slavery. Women, y'all need to get that out of your heads. I don't care who you are. Get that out of your heads. Let's continue.
Cover the spectrum of the day, that she, paid for their rides home after.
I remember
Because what happened?
I paid for the ride.
I know you was
I
gonna
paid
say
for
that.
the
You didn't pay
cab
for the
ride.
date though. Took a cab and I'm paying for the cab ride, but then I'm watching the meter and I'm running out of money. And
He turns to me and says, I have no money.
That didn't make her turned off to him. That didn't make her not want to go on a second date. That didn't make her say, oh, he's less of a man. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. No, he can't be with me. Oh, this is where the date ends. None of that. She did it willingly and thought, if you don't have it, I must have it. That is what a marriage is. It is supporting one another on both sides. Him supporting you and you supporting him. His weaknesses is your strength. Your strength is his weak. Whatever it is, that balance,
Yep.
that camaraderie between the two.
And the thing with modern women in today's time, modern women, unfortunately, could care less about being balanced. And I think if a lot more people could be balanced, I think things would go way, way, way better than what they are. Let's continue.
Women today are not doing that.
Nope.
You hear women getting the ick because a man, will buy her an Uber home and he didn't get the Lux truck and spend $100. Like crazy stuff.
You were listening to us. Was he considered? Did you think he was cute back then? I thought he was cute, but I fell in love with his spirit. Really? Yeah, that I saw first. And then I thought, not a bad package. Not a bad.
A woman of integrity who is not looking at the flashy things, the clothes, even, she's obviously attracted to him, but wasn't looking at, oh, what can he do for me in my life? Looked at who he was on the inside. The internal being is who she was attracted to. Not the watch, the car, the clothes, the jewelry, the flexing, if you can fly me out, if you can impress my homegirls, if you can, none of that. The real.
I have a great wife.
A lot of women who started clapping when he said that you had to really do inventory. Is he talking about you?
A lot of women don't understand that the reason why they are not placed into a wife category when a man meets them or deals with them is because of the main fact that you do not exude qualities that a man would see of a woman who is supposed to even raise his children.
Talk about it, Rella. Talk about it, Rella.
Staying locked in for that long, especially while being in the spotlight.
Having a great woman. A faithful, honest, loving, patient wife. She
Bingo.
is the reason that our 4 children are doing
Bingo.
what they're doing.
When a man looks at a woman and is seeing a lifelong relationship with that woman, he's analyzing everything. He's looking at you from the way you take care of yourself. He's looking at you for who you are genuinely inside. You talking nasty to the waiter. You talking nasty to the people outside. You're disrespectful to people who don't deserve it. How you treat other people. They're watching everything. He knew what investment he was making when he, chose that woman to be his wife.
In fact, a great woman is a corporation in one person. She is a corporation all by herself. If you are a great woman, you are a corporation.
He knew instantly. All the traits that he just mentioned of these women, it's like, of this woman, is like, these women are kind of like of yesteryear. Then when you have
Talk
women
about
who
it.
attach themselves to these behaviors, they're like a gem, like a gemstone.
A faithful, honest, loving, patient wife.
Patience.
A lifetime of benefits and care. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
A lot of these women are not patient. Like I said, I used the reference of, they dated for, I think, a span of 6 or 7 years before they even got married. That level of patience women don't have today. Give me the wedding now. Give me the money now. Give me the lifestyle now. Fly me out now. Buy me the bags now. Regardless of if you're building something, regardless of if you're trying to achieve something. She was there before he was who he is. She had no problem being patient. Clearly loving. Okay? The only way a woman could be truly loving to a man is when you can see him talking about her and he's giddy all over again. I even saw a part where he did an interview and they asked a question. He couldn't wait to call her and get on the phone and just to laugh with his best friend.
As long as I've known her, she's been a movie buff, so she's got those kids to watch movies. See if I can get on FaceTime.
Okay. He talked about her and he called her a faithful woman, an honest woman. She only had eyes for one. She don't care how many women had eyes for Denzel. She only had eyes for him.
Bingo.
That's the only person she wanted to be with. That's the only person she's in love with. We don't see her all over the social media, parading around, trying to be in the spotlight. No. We don't even see him on social media. Only time we see him is if he does interviews and they put those clips on social media. She knows this space. She resides there happily.
A great woman bites her tongue at times that other women speak their mind. It is expensive to be a great woman to know when to speak and when to shut up and go the other way.
This is secret sauce of being married and staying locked in for that long, especially while being in the spotlight.
Having a great woman.
And this goes vice versa as well. You know, having a great man, a man that's there to, in all ways, protect you by any means necessary. Somebody who's going to be there to support you in every alley, you know, emotionally, you know, in any way that you need help or saving or reckoning. He is going to be there. Somebody that can, you know, fix your sale. And when I say that, I mean, I'm basically articulating the ability to, when you're in a space that you are navigating and you don't know where to go, they can set you on the path using their logical mindset and say, this is the way you should be going. I understand your emotions. I understand you this. Let me help you in this way, and vice versa, you to him. When you know, Denzel Washington sat down with T.D. Jakes, he also was giving advice to men as well.
For the guys out there, you gotta have vision to
Facts.
see potential. Instead of, well, it ain't working right now, let me go over here. Right. Let me go over here, let me go over here, you know.
Now, when he said a man that you know, has to have vision, he meant a multitude of different reasons why. And one of the main reasons that he was talking about is you need to have somebody that you feel that you can also build with.
Exactly.
Like, not getting a woman that's standing out there that is ready-made. Not coming maybe all together in all the facets, but somebody that you know at her core, you can work with this woman. At her base, you can work with. She at her core is a good person. She at her core is nurturing and caring and supportive and loving. And all the other things that you maybe have to work on to add on to that, you have to be willing to see the vision.
So a word up to the fellows, a lot of times you have more emphasis on cute than great. But what makes a relationship sustainable is great rather than cute.
Because there is a, you know, a portion of good women who are out there who maybe, you know, aren't presenting themselves perfectly in the same way as some of these IG models, but they there. And they will be down for you, and they will support you, and they will love you, and maybe there's some things that you can add to them and tweak and show them, and they can expound on that. But who is that woman at her core? Denzel even spoke to the fact that he said, you know, her pedigree. Like the type of woman that she was, she didn't force him to change anything. It caused him to rise to the occasion. Like, you know, I want to be this woman's husband, and so I know what I need to do to create this space. That I can make sure that I am a perfect balance for her.
My wife's pedigree. her pedigree, you know, she raised me up out the ghetto a little bit. You know, I had one foot in the street. You know.
Now I have to say, you know, there's some women who I just love and admire so much, for so many different ways. Pauletta Washington is absolutely one of them. You know, LL Cool J's wife is another woman. Like, I can name a couple, but, you know, she's definitely one of them. And one of the reasons why is because I can sense her grace. I can see it. I admire a woman who, you know, stands beside her family. Whenever a man talks highly of his woman, I look at the woman. I don't look at the man. A lot of women do the opposite. When a man talks highly of his woman, they be like, yeah, that's right. You know, these men need to understand. No, I look at that woman, I analyze, what are her traits? Why is he talking about her in this way? Why does he see her in this light? What made her stand apart? A lot of these women, they think that they embody all these traits. They're not.
They don't.
Close. Okay?
A lot of women who started.
And I'm gonna say this too. Most of the modern women out here are not wife material. The reason they're not wife material is because their mama, their aunties, maybe their grandmothers were not wife material.
Happened when he said that you have to really do inventory. Is he talking about you?
Nowhere close. Have no idea what it even looks like to even sit at her feet to even understand the knowledge that she is willing to give. Don't even want to hear it. A woman like her can't even talk to some of these women because they don't even want to hear what she has to say because they think they know it all. I love that. I love the standout. I love the way that he can speak about her from a consistent basis for nearly 50 years. He's saying the same things. Why is he saying the same things? Because of who she is.
My wife is consistent.
Yes, consistent.
Consistent.
Because she didn't change and switch up and become something different. You know,
Exactly.
Actually, very quickly, he was also talking about the fact that, you know, he in an interview, somebody was in a relationship for a little while and they were going to get married, and he was telling them, like, you know, the best advice I can give you is don't expect a drastic change. Don't try to now be something different.
Any words of wisdom that I could take to have a happy marriage here?
You know, I don't know. I'm no expert. Maybe people think things are supposed to change, like suddenly it turns into something else, but, you know, just keep rolling.
Now, that is something that is mainly talked to women about, because women put on the ring and start acting, you know, like something is off. All this time they've been with this man in a long-term relationship. Now, all of a sudden, they feel like, you a husband now. You can't do this and you can't go anywhere. And he's like, you know, whatever caused you guys to stay the course within the dating phase as friends, that love, that care, maintain that. Don't now flip the switch and create problems that you guys never even had before. Which a lot of things happen like that. A lot of women do that, and a lot of times that quickly ends in divorce. Whereas y'all was together before and were married and had no problems. Keep that same energy.
If you're friends, then I think you'll be all right. That's the key, you know, to be friends.
I love that. I love this conversation. I always love when Denzel speaks about Pauletta Washington and they have certain conversations. And again, you know, in the air of all this divorce talk and toxicity, this is also important for a lot of women to understand and to see that you are, I don't care what anybody says, and I don't care if anybody disagrees with me, you are the flame in your relationship. You absolutely are. Men react off of what you give them. If you present yourself as a good woman, they will make you a wife. They will do it.
Right.
If you present yourself as a loving, caring, nurturing, honest, faithful woman, they are the ones to glorify you. A lot of women are looking for that glorification from their husbands. Or, why isn't he always showing me off? Because you are nothing to show off. You just give him stress, dishonesty, attitude, toxicity.
Man, what's that about a like button?
I'll let you know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your
Yeah, I
thoughts on
noticed
this
that too.
entire
I don't know.
situation.
I don't
Make sure you
know
guys hit
what's
that
up with
subscribe
the
button
like
and
button
give this video a
acting
thumbs up,
weird.
and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.
Okay, that was the first clip. Let's go to the Cheyenne Bryan clip, shall we? Second clip, Cheyenne Bryan. Let's go.
You still haven't found yourself all the way at the age of 60. It's time for the grown man in you to roll up. A woman will become a product of your environment. Offset and Cardi B is a perfect example. Cardi B came into it. She had no kids. Offset had how many? By how many? Cardi now has 2 by 2.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Riba, and I'm back again with another video. So today, of course, we have a new conversation in regards to Dr. Cheyenne Bryan. Okay.
Pause. The alleged Dr. Cheyenne Bryan. Let's get it right. Alleged doctor. Because her credentials have been in question. The alleged Dr. Bryan.
She was on Club Shay Shay's show, and the two of them had a lot of different discussions. They talked about a lot of different things. As you know, we all came to know, the majority of us came to know Dr. Cheyenne Bryan after her appearance on Cam Newton's Funky Fridays, in which, you know, she kind of, for a lack of better words, checked him or called him out.
Your life entirely or your life in
My life.
See, don't deflect. Let's stay here.
My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. As you would say it, Dr. Bryan. You said it, I didn't say it. I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time.
Since then, you know, it definitely heightened her visibility in, you know, all over social media. She was then, you know, doing, you know, different tours and talking to other people. I think that she is a part of like a conversational tour that they tour and talk about relationships and dating and stuff like that. She was on Fox Soul, or maybe she still is, I'm not sure. And she does that as well. She kind of talks about celebrity commentary. There was even a clip where she was, calling out singer Neo for his behavior.
What is Neil to you, Dr. B?
He's a womanizer. He's making these other women pay for the heartbreak that he caused to himself by saying, I want to be polyamorous. That's BS. You failed in your marriage. You're effed up, and that's the problem. Now you need to heal from that and not have these self-project your pain onto these women about your messed up decision-making.
She's gone on to, the Breakfast Club and done interviews there and talked about her relationships and stuff like that there as well.
So I do believe that different relationships bring out different things in us. I was also an extreme alpha in my first engagement. I had 2 engagements, called off 2 weddings. My first relationship I was engaged to, I was extreme alpha. So even if he tried to be alpha, I left
Wait
no
a minute,
space.
wait a minute.
So as I
Pause.
said before,
Pause. I am so sick of this alpha female thing. I won't say this loud. I'm going to say this clear. Alpha females do not exist. The end. Alpha females don't exist.
she was on Club Shay Shay and they talked about a plethora of things. Okay, they got into so many different things.
You might as well,
Interestingly
18.
enough, somewhere in between, she ends up getting kind of lost in the sauce, I guess, of the conversations, and a grand portion of her female fan base completely turned on her. Okay, so we're going to get into a couple aspects of the conversation. We're obviously going to get into, the female fan base turning on her based off of some of the things that she said. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it, give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, and my opinion on this entire situation. So, the conversation has had so many different parts. I personally did not watch the full interview. I'm just being honest with you guys. I saw clips from the interview that made it across, social media. I saw that there was one clip that Club Shay Shay's Instagram page actually posted in which, she talked about being a, supportive woman, a supportive spouse to her ex-fiance, and, how it's so important for a woman to be there for a man.
When my fiance had an issue, my last one, sat on the couch right here, literally. He said, I sat here, and I just put my hand on him. I said, he didn't look at me. I said, baby, I don't know what it is, but I want you to know, whatever it is, even if it's financial, I'm not leaving you. And I love you, and we'll get through it. Then you even get this. And tears just rolled by.
And listen, it sounds amazing, right?
Why
Coming
didn't she
from,
marry?
Somebody that looks well in appearance, and they're saying these things, and they're, providing a sense of support for men, which we know for a fact that men don't get certain levels of support. It sounds great. But interestingly enough, she sat there and she said that she was there for that man and she was supportive of him and that she, explained to him that she would never leave him. But ironically enough, she left him. Okay?
I
She
figured
completely left
she
that
did.
man. And how do we know this? Because she talked about it on the Breakfast Club when she was there doing her interview.
Was engaged for 10 years. Engaged, I can't put it off, but I knew that wasn't my person. Great guy.
10 years? And she said he was a great guy.
Great guy. He was a great guy. He just wasn't my guy.
10 years, he thought he was the guy. You scrolling along for 10 years, why you ain't let him go be great with somebody else that would appreciate him and love him?
So I'm not saying for 10 years I knew he wasn't the one. So when we got about year number 5 or 6 and I seen that.
Now, people who do not follow, the trail or the conversations in regards to the situation would seem like, wow, like,
Why did you string him along for 10 years?
That man, maybe she's still with him. Like, what could have been the problem in that relationship? But the fact that, the reason why.
I tell you what the problem was. The problem in that relationship was Cheyenne herself. That was the problem.
She left that engagement, and the reason why that they no longer continued a relationship is literally tied to the same thing that she was consoling him about. Was a little bit strange to me that she brought it up in that way, knowing that they never saw that situation through.
I'm saying his thing was, baby, I'm cool with me, you a dog, and one vision with her. So for the first 6 years, I thought, well, I'm not gonna get it. I have a legal company. I own property. I'm only 22. I'm getting all these college degrees. How can he not be inspired by me? So that's that age-appropriate young woman. He got potential. Let me stay. When I see number 7 and 8, this guy was the same guy, where he was lazy and had no work ethic. I had pivot. And I had to wait.
Now, of course, the same thing that she does, when she goes onto these platforms, she did it when she talked to Nick Cannon. She did it, when she talked to Cam Newton, which is again what we kind of, grew to know her because of. She diagnosed Shannon. Okay, she sat with Shannon She diagnosed him. She talked about the fact that, like, basically, it's a little boy in him while he's not able to get into relationships. She talked about the fact that, like, almost like he can't find himself, like he's lost because of the fact that he is, not in a long-term relationship.
You still haven't found yourself all the way at the age of 60. A man who can procreate with multiple women without wanting to make sure that there's a foundational family there. He has a loss of self. And that man has an identity crisis. The little boy in you does not know how to navigate. It's time for the grown man in you to grow up.
Now, what gets me about this situation is the hypocrisy of it all. Like, you're single by choice. You're single because you want to be. You're single
Talk
and
about
it's a
it,
healthy
Reverend.
mindset for you to be single.
Hypocrisy at its
Cam
finest.
Newton, when he asked the question that a lot of people were wondering, like, you're giving all this advice to all these people. How come you were unable to find, your spark in a relationship with somebody else? And she answered that.
The question shouldn't be, why isn't a woman of age, of success, of a certain caliber, not married with kids? The question should be, why are people rushing to the altar just to become divorcees or baby mamas and baby daddies?
So it's ironic to me that she's sitting with him and saying
Hypocrite.
that something is wrong with him, and like he's kind of lost in the sauce, and he doesn't know, basically who he is, and he needs to, dial back to his childhood and all these things. She has all these conversations to say about him in that regard. When I was kind of surprised that the conversation didn't stem to or didn't reach to, you're talking about the fact that he has a lot of people that he is unwilling to trust.
How you get successful transactionally, but your heart is over here. Talking about, well, at what point am I going to get seen? And then with the little boy, you tell the heart is, didn't nobody want to see you when you was young? Or why do I think, as a little boy, that you're deserving of someone who would take your heart? You're really protected. Easier for you to have transactional sex because that gives you control.
Instead of the conversation being, maybe advise on how he can sift through the women who are around him, how he can try to find out or navigate dating in certain relationships. She's basically made it seem like him being single is an identity crisis, and for him to be healthy and whole, he would need to be in a relationship. So how come it's different for you?
Yeah.
How
Basically,
come when you were posed that question,
how is it different?
your answer was, well, I'm healthy, I'm fine, I'm great, there's nothing wrong with me, I don't have any issues, it's just that there's not enough men out there for me. I don't get it.
You're not married. What do you say to those people?
I don't want to hear you've been together 15 years, they're miserable 13. I'd rather take advice from a single woman or man who's happy, thriving, successful, meaning in their joy, not just in their monetary value, than someone who is miserable in their marriage. The Bible also says single people are happy people. Look that up. It says marriage takes discipline.
Talked about, fatherless daughters and how they're the ones who like bad boys, and she called him out as a bad boy. Like, was like, when he asked the question, she was like, oh, you talking about you?
What is it about good girls who like bad guys?
Yes.
You mean like the women who've been liking you?
Then she gave her reasoning saying that, the only women who are attracted to bad guys outside are women who, don't have fathers in their lives, and because they're looking for like a leader or protector outside because they've never experienced it.
I think that those women, again, are women who are overcompensating for fatherly bad guy who can come in and create a leadership that they believe leadership is. Usually those women are fatherless little girls who don't have a clue on what healthy leadership looks like.
Hold on. Come on, there
Now,
we go.
I want to get one thing very clear. Okay? Very, very extremely clear. I'm the type of person, I say it all the time, I'm with you, right. Is there a point in that conversation that I think that there is some validity to what she is saying? Yes. Do I think that it is a one-size-fits-all? I absolutely do not. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there is a lot of women out there who have fathers and mothers, okay,
Yep.
and have great relationships with their fathers and still go out there and choose to do whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah, they still
So we
choose
look at
wrong.
statistics that say, a two-parent household is the same as a man raising children by himself. They were talking about the statistics in regards to how younger men are affected. If they go to prison, if they, look for somebody to raise them in the streets and stuff like that. But under the gaze of young girls or young women who are growing up, I firmly and strongly believe, not from, any kind of doctorate or anything like that, but from personal experience, having conversations with real people in real life and from what I've seen, that it is solely dependent on the type of father that you have.
Yep.
Because there are a lot of fathers who are out there who are yes men to the mama.
Yep.
There's a lot of households where they are two-parent households, but the woman is the one who runs the household.
Yep.
And so,
AKA, happy wife, happy life, is what River is saying. Only thing that happy wife, happy life makes a man be is a complete doormat to an overbearing woman. That is it. That is all. Come on.
runs the household. And so, in turn, that younger woman feels like she either has to have dominion over all men and she's going to be the guy and, be the leader and tell him what to do. Or she feels like, okay, you are now showing me a kind of strength that I've never seen from a man. And so now this is what I'm attracted to because I've never witnessed it on my own.
A woman who's had a father who knows how to decipher from a controlling man who's a bad guy and a man who knows how to lead her.
I have to say this, and it's something that I said, a multitude of times before, that it's time out that we stop, that we.
Cheyenne is a therapist and don't get it. First off, Cheyenne, you're a miscentrist. Secondly, you don't have the mindset for a wife. And number 3, allegedly, you're a kitty licker, which means you don't even like men in any way, shape, form, and or fashion. So stop with the mess. Just stop.
Quit blaming men for all the actions of the children, right? If a man is around and he's a certain way when it comes to his children, oh, he's too strict, that's the reason why they're going to go out in the streets and act like this. If a man is not around and the mother is raising the child, oh, it's because the dad's not around and that's why the kids are acting like this. Do I believe that fathers are, extremely necessary to be around their children and to be in their children's life? Absolutely.
Yep.
We don't even have to have that conversation because we know that's true. However, as a woman, I believe that young girls, the way that they behave, the way that they maneuver outside in the world is directly correlated to how they saw their mother behave.
Yep. All
If
facts.
their mother, there are some, I'm just going to keep it out there, there are some single mothers out there who, are single mothers by whatever reason. Okay? And they have younger girls who are well behaved, who are classy, who respect men, who know how to relate to a man, who know how to deal with or
Keyword,
be a
son.
submissive woman to a man because of the way that their mother operates, because of the way that they see their mother deal with men. Young girls literally perpetuate what they see from their mothers. If their mother was trifling, they're gonna be trifling.
Bingo.
If the mother don't respect the daddy, they don't respect the daddy. If the mother doesn't respect men, they don't respect men. And I think
Ding,
in
ding,
all
ding.
these conversations, the onus is always put on the man. But it's ironic because majority of the time, as soon as the child is born, the woman be walking around like, this my child. So how come when things
Sad
go
but true.
haywire, the responsibility is never put on women?
Dip into it, there's chunky salsa. Mexican is
These
Herdes.
damn ads.
Now, again, they talked about a plethora of things. It was a long conversation for sure. But where Cheyenne Bryant seems to have lost the crowd, okay, was when she said this in regards to the Cardi B and Offset situation.
A woman will become a product of your environment. Offset and Cardi B is a perfect example. Cardi B came into it. She had no kids. She was in her career. She's going diamond and platinum with her records. No kids. Offset had how many? By how many?
We got a couple.
So who became a product of whose environment?
First off, Cardi B and Offset are from the same environment. What the hell is Cheyenne talking about? Cardi B and Offset come from the same hood environment. What are you talking about? See, how are you gonna sit up trying to punch down on Offset when Offset came from the same environment? Cool. But here's the thing though. Cardi went from wife to a side chick in less than a year. And the fact that some of y'all women want to say that Cardi is better off with Stephon Diggs than Offset. Y'all do realize that Cardi B allegedly is one of 5, look at my fingers, one of 5 baby mamas? How is a baby mama better than a wife? Make it make sense. And honestly, I know I'm probably going to get toward a new a-hole for this one. I think the only reason Offset married her was because 1, he got Cardi pregnant, and 2, if you look in Offset's background, Offset has family members that are quote unquote old school South. Now, if you know anything about old school South, one thing they ain't gonna go for is children out of wedlock. I'm just saying. Now, whether or not if Offset was married before Cardi, I can't quite remember. But here's the thing with Cardi. Cardi's family is old school Catholic. Now, if anybody knows anything about old school Catholics, they also do not believe in children outside wedlock. So basically, this is just my opinion. I think Offset basically married Cardi to appease the older folks in his family and to appease the older folks in Cardi's family. I'm just saying. Now, me personally, getting married out of obligation instead of love, to me, it's a slippery slope. Again, just my opinion. Let's get back into River TV.
No, with the records, no kids. Offset had how many? By how many?
We got a couple.
So who became a product of whose environment? Cardi now has 2 by 2.
Now I can't translate, okay, what it is that she's saying. You know, her conversation that she's having is leaving it up.
I'm gonna try to simplify that jibber jabber that she just said. She trying to make it sound like that Cardi came out better. Cardi didn't come out better. If anything, Cardi came out worse than Offset. I mean, both of them still jacked up. It is what it is.
To the viewer's interpretation, and from the viewer's interpretation, from what I saw people are getting from this, and basically from hearing, in my opinion, on what she said, she's saying that basically Offset rubbed off on her, and that's the reason why Cardi is a single mother, baby mama outside, because of Offset.
Lies. Cardi chose to be a baby mama. Let's get that right.
And the women on social media, they were letting her go on and on about the conversations. They were letting her go on and on with all the other clips about the things that she said. They were letting her have all kinds of conversations. But this is where they drew the line in the sand. Here you can see the first person says, no, Cardi is the reason she has 2 baby daddies. She didn't have to go and have another baby outside her marriage. The next woman says, and just to be clear, I'm purposely highlighting only the commentary from women, okay? A lot of men was dragging, her for the stuff that she was saying too, but I'm purposely only talking about the comments from women, okay? The next woman says, this is so inaccurate. Cardi became a wife and, like most, chose and wanted to be a mother. How are having children that you wanted with your husband anyone's fault? Shake my head. Next person says, Not really, because my baby father was treating me horrible, and never did I go give my body up and have a child with another man. I think they're just finding excuses to make women look better nowadays. Everyone has to learn accountability and be able to understand what's right and wrong.
And I don't know who this person is, but I'm glad they mentioned the word accountability. Two things that modern women cannot stand, or much less exhibit, is shame and accountability. If shame and accountability came back into the room, things would go way, way better. If shame and accountability will come back into the room. Wait a minute, what you say, 18? Yeah, I didn't know my facial expressions would be that much, cause I saw myself in Chris live, and I saw the facial expressions I was making. So sorry, I can't hide it. Okay, it is. Yeah, 18. Yeah. What did you have to remind me about that? Let's get back into this.
Accountability and be able to understand what's right and wrong, but it's a blessing. It's a blessing to her child. God always gives when time is ready. Let me tell you what the problem is, right?
Whoa, what?
The
How you gonna sit there, acknowledge the fact that Cardi is a married woman having another man's illegitimate child, and then gonna have the nerve to put God in it? I'm just gonna say about the God I know. The God I know doesn't do confusion. So, what the hell is this woman talking about? Just asking a question.
right? The problem is not that she's 2 for 2, right? Cardi B was married, had 3 children with Offset, right?
She did.
Fine. Nothing wrong with that. Fine. The marriage obviously did not work out, and they could not get on the same page. Understandably so, because of a lot of stuff that happened from both sides, right? Let me tell you what the problem is in this conversation. Cardi B, okay, was sleeping with this new man when she was pregnant with the last baby with Offset.
Thank you.
Then decides to have a baby with the same kind of man that she left.
Yeah, basically.
Do we not forget that Stephon Diggs' baby with Cardi B is, I believe, the 3rd child that has come into the world?
Allegedly, that's the 4th. Allegedly, Corey's child's the 4th, not the 3rd.
You're going to blame Offset for that? She made a choice.
Exactly.
A choice that she vehemently...
She made a choice. A dumbass choice, but a choice nonetheless.
Stands 10 toes down on and says, I'm just happy and I'm living my life. And you're going to blame Offset?
How?
As if Offset has control over Cardi B's lady parts? Next woman says, yeah, this is ridiculous. No one can make someone a product of their environment. People become a product of their choices, decisions, not their surroundings. Environments can influence, but they don't control. Actions reveal character, not excuses.
I don't know, again, I don't know who this person is, but where did that person lie? Let's continue.
Tag girl, bye. Next woman says, we all have a mind of our own. She made a choice, a slow one, but a choice nonetheless to become a married baby mama. Now, let me tell you, like I said before, my issue is that in a lot of these conversations, a lot of the stuff that we touched on in regards to her interview with Club Shay Shay, I just feel Shannon Sharp. I just kind of feel like a lot of the accountability points towards men being the problem, whether it's the fathers being the problem, whether men being single at a certain age is like an identity crisis or something is wrong with them or they're unhealed. You know, whether it is that because you were in a relationship with a man that turns you now to be with somebody else, and because of what he had going on, that it influenced you or forced you into the same book. Like all the accountability is going. And I haven't seen a part, maybe I just missed a part of the conversation, but I have not seen a part of the conversation in regards to the two of them that did not reflect, in my opinion, hypocrisy based off of all the other interviews that she had, or that did not reflect any accountability on a woman's part. And that's just me. I don't know. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this entire situation. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button.
Okay. That was the end of that. And I'm going to end it here with Ebony K. Williams. Yeah, Ebony K. Williams. Let's go.
Have you ever wanted to listen in on the cops when they say something crazy on their walkie-talkies?
Based on the fact that, you know, the financial difference between Candy and Todd into the relationship.
Even in divorce, I don't think it's right when men be trying to take half of the woman.
You don't think he should get anything? I'm deciding to bring up against my lawyer.
I think you deserve it,
This is
18.
why you felt so strongly about not dating a bus driver.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
If he owns the bus, this would not be a risk I would be willing to take. Based off my personal value system, I'm very old school. I'm very much of the traditional mindset. Now, I'm literally on some fertility drugs. I'm preparing for my embryo transfer, doing it solo by children.
Why would you need... Never mind. Let's play.
So what do I look like? Tethering myself legally, for sure, to a man that I'm out earning. Now, I am extremely fortunate that I was able to secure 2 vials of black sperm for this voice. So I have an MP3 file.
Why would you need a fertility clinic when all you need to do is be approachable enough to meet a man, build a relationship, and then have a child? Well, preferably get married first, then have a child. Instead of going the test tube baby route, or has this channel down that I'm a moderator in called Single by Choices, have a quote unquote turkey baster bastard. Now that's their term, not mine. All Ebony had to do was be pleasant, meet a guy, and have a child. Well, have a child, but preferably get married first. And as we all know with Ebony K. Williams, Ebony K. unfortunately is not a pleasant person. Let's go.
For this voice. I have an MP3 file of him telling his own life story.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Riva, and I'm back again with another video. So this Kandi Burruss and
Man, you used to look halfway decent, Ebony. That daggone baby got you looking tired. Whenever y'all have the time, look at the clip of her talking about Kandi's divorce, and y'all see what I'm talking about. That baby is running her ragged. Lord, she looking tore from the floor up.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Riva, and I'm back again with another video. So this Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker divorce saga situation has been plastered all over social media. Even recently, Kandi Burruss actually took to social media creating a post, which we'll get into. But I have been covering the story, the tidbits that have been coming out. But if you guys are unaware of the people in which I'm talking about,
I'll be back in a second, y'all.
Kenny Burris is a singer and songwriter who was a part of the group Escape.
I used to be a member of the group Escape. We had our first hit single when I was 17. We had 3 platinum albums.
Beyond that, she has written records for the likes of Whitney Houston, Destiny's Child. You know, she wrote No Scrubs for TLC.
I started writing songs and have had a very successful career as a songwriter. I've written for everybody from Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, NSYNC, Alicia Keys. The list goes on.
She was also a standing cast member for the Real Housewives franchise, the Atlanta version, in which she met her husband, Todd Tucker, who was a part of the production team on the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Todd and I, we actually met in Africa. Todd works in television production, and it was the last day of the Africa trip. On his birthday, of all days, we talked all night long, and from there, he was like, hey, when we get back to Atlanta, I would love to go out, and we've been going out ever since.
So the two of them are going through a divorce after 11 years. They have 2 children together. And, you know, things have kind of been up in the air. People were saying, is it because they have allowed, you know, extra parties into the bedroom?
Currents 230 said threesomes never work. That's not true. I done had a threesome and it worked just fine.
Do you and Todd currently have threesomes, or is that something that y'all just did early on in y'all relationship, y'all married?
If they had been in the past 6 months, yes.
Is it because of financial situations where, you know, she was clearly the breadwinner when the two of them got together, and you know, he just didn't want to be with her. You know, he had brought up the fact that recently, as he's currently fighting for primary custody of the children, he also brought up the fact that he felt that he didn't have enough time to review the prenuptial agreement. Ironically enough, they had a Bravo special that filmed the actual prenup signing.
Okay, ready. This is a video recording of the execution of the prenuptial agreement between Candy Louise Burris and Todd Tucker. You acknowledge that you had a sufficient amount of time and opportunity to fully consider the prenuptial agreement and to request changes to the prenuptial agreement. Yes.
So this obviously opened up a whole...
Okay, I got to pause it for a second. About the prenup, if I remember correctly, he didn't sign the prenup till about 2 hours before the wedding. Now, the thing with the prenup, I believe the prenup was not just Candy. I also believe that the prenup idea was because of Candy's mama also being in Candy's ear. Cause at the clips I saw, Todd wasn't just dating Candy. It looked to me he was dealing with Candy and her whole family for 11 years. Now, would I do it? No, I would not. If it was me, I would have said, Candy, you need to tell your family fall back. This here's a me and you thing. Tell your family fall back. Let's get back into it.
So this obviously opened up a whole new can of worms in regards to the conversation. And so Ebony K. Williams sat down with Carlos King, and she actually decided to talk to him about it, basically because of, you know, with her famous conversation that she had in which Iyanla Vanzant asked her if she was willing to date the likes of a bus driver, and she said she wasn't.
Would you date a bus driver?
Yeah, I remember that.
Would you date
If he owns the bus. If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
So based off of...
And here's the thing with Ebony K. Ilyana, what's her name? The Van Sant lady. What's her first name? I can't pronounce it. The Van Sant. Dang, what's her name? Said her try to talk to Ebony K, basically telling Ebony K to quote unquote humble herself. Thank you, Ilyana. Dang, I still can't say that. Dr. Vincent, that's her name. That's what I'm going to call her. Dr. Vincent told Ebony K to damn you, Creakery, Yan Ya. La. Yan La. Whatever. You ain't shit for that one. But anyways, Dr. Vincent basically was telling Ebony K, baby girl, you need to humble yourself. Unfortunately, Ebony K did humble herself, and we all know what happened with that situation. Let's get back into this.
The bossy, that's a problem.
So based off of that previous comment that she made, based off of, you know, the logistics of the situation with primary custody, probably the fact that it's going to pivot into child support and all that, Carlos King brought her onto his platform so that the two of them can have a conversation in regards to her opinion or her standpoint in this situation. So I'm going to go ahead and get into all of the conversation. I'm going to press play, add the clips, and we are going to deep dive in this conversation as I give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, and my opinion on everything in regards to this matter.
You are a woman of means, you are a highly educated woman, and you are a celebrity. Based on the fact that, you know, the financial difference between Candy and Todd entering a relationship, asking for, you know, possible child support alimony. Are these the reasons?
And here's another issue I had with their relationship. Is that not only with Todd's family, but even with the castmates. From the clips that I saw, they said they tried to treat this dude like he was broke. Y'all need to understand. Yes, Todd didn't have the money that Candy had, but Todd was not broke. From what I'm hearing, the production team at Bravo, which I think is on Bravo, E Network, all that, think it's owned by NBC. Those production people get paid pretty decent. So Todd wasn't broke. And the fact that you had castmates and Kenny's family treating him like he was broke, not for months, but for 11 years, I don't see how he stayed. And I don't see how he stayed. Cause I looked at a clip of her, I think her hairdresser or her glam squad, and they was basically trying to clown Todd like he was broke. But if you did the math, Todd had more money than the hairdressers. But they had the nerve to clown him. Now, if Candy was the wife that she was supposed to be, she would never let Todd get clowned. Whether it was by her family, whether it was by castmates, or if it was by her glam squad. Or hell, I think when she did a show with Escape, if I remember correctly, didn't Todd get clowned a little bit by Tiny on that show? The show with Escape, SWB, all that mess? Or am I wrong? Y'all let me know. Let's get back into this.
The reasons why you feel so strongly about not dating a bus driver.
Now, again, he's explaining why he brought her onto the platform. He brought her onto the platform because he's like, okay, maybe this is why women are avoiding this. And to give you a little background on Carlos King has been a part of the production of, like the Atlanta Housewives, of Love and Hip Hop. So he has, a firsthand view of behind the scenes
I heard that too,
relationships between
18.
people because
Heard
he was
that
there.
too.
He was a part of the production team. So he's asking her opinion, like, is this the reason why you said that you want to take a step back and why you wouldn't want to involve certain people? Is this why you don't want to date somebody who's not in your tax bracket? Like, based on what we're seeing right now in the media, is this the reason why you came to that thought process?
Very much a part, not exclusively, but a very real part of why I personally, this is a me decision. Each woman, each man, each person gets to make this decision for themselves. But for me, this would not be a risk I would be willing to take.
And listen, to each their own. She said that it's not the risk that she would have been willing to take.
I'm not even going to say anything, 18. I'm not even going to say anything.
But it's just ironic because Ebony K. Williams is the same woman with all of her education, with all of her means, with all of the finances that is deciding to, raise a child on her own.
Truth is, not every child gets the chance to go to the movies. In North America alone, more than 20 million kids.
That is deciding.
And here's the thing I want to say about Ebony K. Ebony K did not have to raise a kid alone. She chose to raise a child alone, which, in my opinion, deprives a child of a lot of things. Because I think with Ebony, it's just her mom, and I think a sister. I don't think she has anything else outside of that. Because I think I don't even know if her sister even has children or not. I don't know. But outside of Ebony, that child really, unfortunately, doesn't have much of a village from what I saw. Let's get back into this.
Finances that is deciding to, raise a child on her own.
As I speak here with y'all today, I'm literally on some fertility drugs. I'm preparing for my embryo transfer in the next few weeks. Now, I'm 40 years old, just turned 40 a couple of weeks ago. Y'all know I've been very transparent about...
Screw it. I won't say what KS said. In the words of Kevin Samuels, no woman should be having a child at the age of 40. And also what KS said, if a woman wants to have children, she should have a child before the age of 30. That's what Kevin Samuels said. But unfortunately, these boss women don't want to listen to that. And speaking of a 40-year-old woman who was basically trying to do what Ebony K was doing, was Kendra G. Now, even though Kendra G probably still got her eggs still frozen somewhere, well, by now they probably got freezer burn on them. Who cares? But the point is, even Kendra was supposed to have her child 20 years ago. So with that being said, if Ebony K really wanted a kid, she should have did it 20 years ago instead of blowing through all this money just to have a child by herself. Which personally I think is stupid. Because I did the math. Just for her to have this child was at least $125,000 at least. She could have saved all that money, have the child 20 years ago, and put that money into a college fund. I'm just saying. Let's get back into this.
Just turned 40 a couple of weeks ago. Y'all know I've been very transparent about my motherhood journey. I'm doing this solo by choice.
Decided to be a baby mama on her own regard, thinking that
which
she
is
can
madness.
X-nay a man out of the equation and she can just raise a child on her own.
Because black women that have
madness
to embark upon this expensive and oftentimes lengthy process will increasingly decide to forego marriages and partnerships that do not serve us and
madness.
So it's
Facts,
ironic.
18
so she's
facts.
like saying like, that wouldn't work for me and this wouldn't work for me. But it's like, but you're also doing something that is perpetuating a cycle that is not healthy for the dynamics of a family.
This would not be a risk I would be willing to take. And that's based on a few things, right, Raindrops? It's based off my personal value system. I'm very old school. I'm very much of the traditional mindset.
Again, how are you traditional? A traditional woman would need a husband then the kid.
Thank you,
A
Rayla.
traditional woman would not
Thank
go
you.
outside, go to an office and
Thank you,
know,
Rayla.
pick a man from a book and decide that that's going to be her baby daddy based off of his credentials on paper. And then financially, just because she's able to, will then raise a child on her own.
And now that bypassing those insufficient relationships does not have to come at
And I just look at Ebony's eyes. That woman looks so dead in the eyes, man. It's like Ebony K. Williams has become the Walking Dead. It's weird and creepy.
the expense of motherhood, well, frankly, it's a whole new world. A world in which black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose. Because now we get to do the choosing.
And listen.
And that is demonic and weird. I'm sorry, not sorry. That right there is weird and borderline demonic.
I have to call these things out. I don't know. It's just something in me that I have to bring another, opinion to you guys to the forefront so that other women can see different types of thinking. Because a lot of times people forget what a lot of people say. They forget what the track record is. They forget what these people are doing in their own personal lives, and then will come to the forefront and be like, yep, that's why I wouldn't date a bus driver. Yep, that's why I wouldn't do this. While simultaneously, you said that you're a traditional woman, but you are creating and procreating by yourself.
And that's not traditional.
Fortunate that I was able to secure 2 vials of black sperm from California Cryobank when I embarked on this part of my journey last fall.
What? Why would you need a cryobank when all you had to do was humble yourself and meet somebody? Let's continue.
That does not make that. I don't see the tradition in that. To me,
It ain't no
like the same
tradition
cycle
in
that
it.
we see outside. To me, that's no tax bracket, education or not. That is no different than the women that we see outside that go outside, get into a relationship with a man, become a baby mama, and move on. But at least they can call him.
I was curious to see if it's as good as everyone says. First, it does explode out of the packaging, which was really fun to set up. It is super soft. I love that. And
at least they know where he at. At least that child will have the opposite identity of themselves and be able to connect with that.
Heard his voice. So I have an MP3 file of him telling his own life story. Why you felt you wanted to donate. And this was important. His will.
So the only thing you're gonna have to give your child is the voice of her daddy. Is that what you're telling me? Sad.
To be contacted when my child turns 18. I think men in this nation, we live in a patriarchy, and I believe that men, despite challenges that they also go through, I think they are put in best position to climb the capitalism ladder of this nation based off of male patriarchal systems.
So here she's saying something, again, that to me don't make no sense. She's saying that basically, because of how the system is set up, in the patriarchal system, that men are at this place that they are supposed to be winning, or they have advantage compared to women in this country. And so she's basically saying, like, she doesn't understand how a man that has a strong advantage on how he's able to make income, if he's making less than her, then basically she feels like she's stepping down, or she's backpedaling, or she's doing herself an injustice because, a man is set up and he should be able to, garner a certain amount of wealth, certain amount of wealth based off of the patriarchal system that is in place currently.
So what do I look like tethering myself legally, for sure, to a man that I'm out earning when the whole system is designed for you to out earn me? So I got a problem with that, and I have no problem saying that. Put it on a t-shirt. It's fine. Totally fine with it.
It's just foolish to me. Listen, again, she said that this is her own opinion, right? And again, I don't know her personally. I have any personal connection with her. I never met with her in person, talked to her, whatever. But in regards to her talking points, when I'm, going back and forth against this, it's against her talking point. And with her talking point, it just doesn't really, make any sense to me that she's promoting this and she's so happy about it. And like, yeah, I said what I said. Like, I can get that it can be a disadvantage or whatever the case is based off of certain dynamics that are at play when you are a woman who makes a lot of money. But that's what prenuptial agreements are for. Like, isn't that the same thing that we're talking about? Candy had in place a prenuptial agreement. And there was so many, like I said in the previous conversation, it's like an ironclad agreement. Based off of all the stuff that she put in there, even he had a problem signing it because of how tight it was.
You understand that you're giving up your rights to periodic alimony, lump sum alimony, alimony in kind, attorney's fees, and expenses of litigation, property settlement, equitable distribution, and community property.
If I were to get sick, just get out. It seemed like the document was just so business. It felt like Candy hadn't even really reviewed it.
What happens is that we have a lot of women perpetuating this narrative and aren't even in the likes of her tax bracket. You say these things on the internet to tell other women that they shouldn't be dating somebody who's making less than them. But in actuality, it's like the women who are feeding into this narrative, they can't buy nothing either. Like, two would be better than one. Two incomes would be better than one. Even if he's making a little bit less than you or a lot less than you. Two incomes are always better than one. And it's so ironic because I always see, these women when they have these conversations, it's like, oh, we don't need men. We can do better by ourselves. She can get pregnant on her own. She could raise a child on her own. But you couldn't get pregnant on your own. Because you
still need a man.
In his precious jewels to be able to get pregnant, because there's no other way that you would be able to have done that.
Check out Reproductive Village. It's a new black-owned cryobank, and it's designed to help with this shortage of black sperm. I say go ahead and start looking right now for desirable black sperm. If you see some sperm that you like, I suggest...
And I just realized this too about Emily K. Williams. She is the real life equivalent of being Mary Jane. I just totally realized that. Emily K. Williams is the real life equivalent to being Mary Jane.
Let's go ahead and buy at least 2 vials right now. In addition to that, because I have practiced family law, I know what it's like to see Sherry share. And I also have relationships with women who have paid child support for their own children. I have relationships with women who have paid spousal support to men for years, to multiple men, some of these women. And they're not all famous.
Now listen, I like Sherry Shepherd. Okay? I absolutely like Sherry Shepherd. I know what she's gone through in regards to child support.
I pay child support every day. We argue about this. He wanted a baby. I did not want a baby because I have Jeffrey with special needs. I was tired. Right. And he was like, it ain't fair that you have a baby. Do you have a son and I don't have a son? He was like, well, if you don't have my baby, then I said, fine. I didn't pick the surrogate. I didn't pick the donor who had the egg. I didn't pick the gestational period. I was not involved.
The child was born. She did not want to, have any kind of connection with him. She signed over her rights.
But when I finally put him out, because I found out he was doing all kinds of stuff, he said, and I said, well, I'll pay you $2,000 a month, $2,500. He was like, no, I want $10,000 a month. For me, like, the baby doesn't know me. I put him out when the baby was 4 months pregnant. Like, the baby don't know me at all. He doesn't know me at all. We're not biologically connected.
It was her and him that decided that they were going to have that child. She now has to pay child support for that child, as well as maybe alimony or whatever the case is, right? Understandable. I understand that situation's dynamic. There was people like Mary J. Blige. There's people like Wendy Williams. Like, there's a lot of people. But that is the name of the game. How come we don't hear you complaining when men are doing it?
Talk about it.
We can name way more men that have been blindsided by the system or that have had to take care
Tyrese, anybody?
Spend, an insurmountable amount of money towards women and children and families and all the above. We can count, like so many men. And when it comes to that same conversation in regards to women, it's a very small percentage.
Yep.
Very small. Because a lot of times when these women get into relationships, whether they have money or not, they still want some of what you got.
Some of them are accountants. Some of them are CEOs. Some of them are, work in healthcare, physicians. And that's, again, not a risk I am personally willing to take.
And don't have to, right? Because she said she's not marrying outside of a tax bracket. Now she's a single mom, So It's like where she was, you know, in her career, whatever, boss chick, and she believes that she's deserving of a certain type of man just because of her wealth and her knowledge and all that. You know, now she a baby mama. So, you know, now somebody is going to have a certain side eye coming into the situation with you. Because they're like, I don't want to have to take care of this child, because if she gets married and that man adopts that child and they divorce, he's now going to have to pay child support for her child. So she would be in that situation like equivalent to the bus driver. Like, for real.
So I want to be clear before anybody thinks anything funny style. I am not calling Todd Tucker a bus driver at all. I believe that Todd was a working individual, that he brought many things to the table, and Candy made sure we knew that.
100%, you know, 100%. But you are equating him to the bus driver. You're having the same kind of conversation, and you're equating him to a bus driver. You're not necessarily calling him that, but you are putting him in the same category as a bus driver because of the fact that he makes less money than she does, and because he came into the relationship with less than she had. Have we ever thought, okay, we can use Rihanna for example. Rihanna is a billionaire status, not millionaire, not thousands, billions with a B, okay? And Rihanna's, I don't know if that's her husband, they got married in secret because she refers to him as husband, they have children. She is at a gigantic pay gap between herself and A$AP Rocky.
And here's what I gotta say about A$AP Rocky. Even though a lot of people don't know this, A$AP Rocky, believe it or not, by himself, is actually worth reportedly $10 million. So A$AP Rocky is a millionaire, and Rihanna's a billionaire.
Kandi Burruss, who was well financially off, she was not, you know, finding anybody that could tickle her fancy in a relationship. She met the production on the team, got set up with him, and they got married. The women who have the big bucks and the big checks, they understand the value of a relationship with a man, and that it is not tied to a dollar amount.
The standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in the society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well. I would date a bus driver.
Kandi and Todd, it could have worked out. Everything could have gone well. Things could have been great. It didn't. Such is life.
It could have been great, but unfortunately, they had too many people in their business.
But to use that standpoint to try to, you know, again, stand on the soapbox and say, yeah, women shouldn't date men that make less than them, and women shouldn't do this, as if the only thing that a man brings to a relationship is finances, is absolutely ridiculous to me. And again, I'm standing here in this conversation, not attacking the person, but standing here saying what I'm saying about the talking point, because I firmly and vehemently, you know, need women to understand a different point of view.
But the discrepancy is undisputed. The financial discrepancy between herself and Todd remains severe. And when there is a severe discrepancy from the man, the woman, whoever it is, this risk of money grab accusations is going to always be at play.
If it's always...
I figured Ebony would say that about Todd and Kandi. Why am I not surprised?
Gonna be at play. And I would even go a step further to say it's always gonna be at play, even if you would have made the money. If Ebony K. Williams, just for example, just for the sake of conversation, ended up in a situation with a man who was way more financially well off than she is, and the two of their relationship did not work out, as I said before, and she already have a child, okay? The money grab accusations are going to come up with her just the same.
Damn right.
There's no difference. There's no difference.
No.
Once either one of you or both of you have some kind of money, the money grab conversation is going to come up, which in my point makes this whole argument null and void, in my personal opinion. In my opinion. I think it's perpetuating this narrative. I think it's furthering the distance between man and woman. I think it's furthering the conversation that women can do bad all by themselves and, you know, should be out here having babies on their own and not waiting on a man and, you know, doing everything on your own page instead of, you know, thinking about the things with you, or changing your delusions of grandeur so that you can be on the same page as somebody else. I don't agree with it. I don't, personally. But I'd like to know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Are you 100% on her standpoint? You agree with her and what she's saying? Do you have a different talking point or a thought process that I didn't speak on? I want to know.
Thank you, Reverend. We've been here almost an hour and a half. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. Only thing I can say is, hopefully we can learn something from all these situations. Find a way to improve ourselves and whatever. Like, share, subscribe. I thank y'all for being here. See y'all later. Peace.